This is WFO Radio.
The NHRA Western Swing is in the books for 2021. We did it, baby. Talking about Denver, Sonoma, Pomona. It is all in the books. Nobody swept the swing, but it was great. We made it through. This is WFO Radio, and we'll be recapping the results from the 2021 Lucas Oil Winternationals in the summertime. Oh, boy, it was hot. Yeah, can't get way up there on that one, but it was hot. Super hot. I'm Joe Castello. If this is your first time watching WFO Radio, talk drag racing, baby. We got the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, going to be joining us just seconds from now. We're going to recap the race. What a race it was. So many things going on. Leah Pruett getting the win. Justin Ashley getting out of the car. And there's so much to talk about. Just that story alone. We're going to unpack it all. Funny car run Caps over JR. Todd Caps winning in Pomona. Had so many people in the house there. First win with the new team. John Medlin, Dean Antonelli. Great stuff. We're going to talk about that. Aaron Stanfield, the Iceman. No, the kid wins back-to-back races. He's now won 3 on the season. More wins than anybody else this year. And watch out for this kid. Aaron Stanfield doesn't care about Greg Anderson and his milestone. He doesn't care about Erica Enders and the drive for 5 and all that. Aaron Stanfield is a racer's racer who is going for it. And you're seeing it on the track. And every run down, he's getting better and better. Watch out for Aaron Stanfield. It's going to be so exciting for the rest of the year. And, of course, Pro Stock Motorcycle. Yeah, Matt Smith. Yeah, Matt Smith, right? Like, of course, Matt Smith went out there and kind of dominated. He ran very, very well. We'll get into all of that. Alan Reinhart just seconds away. Remember, you can always comment on social media. Those of you watching on YouTube, love you guys. WFO Radio TV on YouTube. Subscribe, click the bell. And Twitter, everyone's watching on Twitter. And, of course, the other social medias out there. We appreciate you. And the only reason we're here is because of great sponsors like Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. TotalSeal.com. If you're building an engine or you're an engine builder. Total Seal Piston Rings. They are in so many of the high-quality, high-caliber cars out there, from Stock Eliminator, of course, Pro Stock, all the way up to Formula One, because their technology is the best out there. Check them out, TotalSeal.com. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, is what I like to tell you about, because as a listener, you can do the Dragster Adventure. If I tell you about the Super Comp licensing courses or getting your top alcohol funny car license, it kind of narrows the pool, right? But every one of you guys, every single listener, can save your pennies and dimes and go through the couches and come up with $399 at some point, and then go to the Dragster Adventure and drive dragsters for a day. 1 half track pass, 2 full track passes. They can even set up a race. If you're a business, you can have your clients in. If you got a sales team, you want to reward your employees. They do corporate events. But really what it is the best way to get a taste of what this is all about at a very reasonable price. You show up with nothing, the clothes on your back, and you leave with a great experience that'll last a lifetime. FrankHawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, kind of a totally different angle on that. It's like a lifetime of experience. Blockhead CNC programs, motorsport EFI tuning. The days of like the shade tree guy are pretty much over. You want a legitimate, strong foundational education, especially if you're going to be a machinist. And everybody listens to the Hidden Horsepower podcast, I can tell you, knows that they need to ask their machinist a bunch of questions before they even hand them the stuff. And Sam Tech is educating the next generation of machinists and students, crew chiefs. They've got motorsport EFI tuning classes, all kinds of great stuff that prove to train veterans under the GI Bill. Go to samtech.edu. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And then there's Marvin Rodak, my buddy. Marvin, 817-924-6821. One of the great, like, when I get back from a weekend at the NHRA, and I'm usually, in the hotel, they give you the free coffee in that little packet thing. And it's better than nothing. But when I get back, it's like, yeah, coming home to Rodak's with some just great coffee, great blends, drag racing themed blends located down there in Fort Worth, Texas, and just amazing stuff. And I was going to go talk to Matt Hagan about the beef thing, but speaking of beefs, there was a little something going on. Plus our friends at Nitro Fish with the WFO Radio t-shirts over there, and we'll tell you how to get a WFO Radio face covering in the WFO store. You need those? Yes. All right, let's bring him on the show. Here he comes, voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joining us now. Alan, we made it.
Hey, how about us?
We did it. Woo! The Western Swing in the books. And obviously we didn't have one last year. And I, relived a lot of the experiences, Denver, Sonoma, Pomona, this time a little bit different. But we saw so many great drag racing fans out there. That is what stands out in my mind, the fans.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we had a great crowd up in Sonoma. It was certainly a little light in Pomona, but I think between the weather and the fact that, they kept reporting that there was a spike in cases out in that part of the world, and I think that may have kept some people away. But it certainly was an entertaining event, if not the most comfortable day to be outside and watch one. So, but see, I'm curious now, since Capp's won the Winternationals,
yes,
does that mean he won the first race with his new team?
He won the first race. He won his first race with his new team. Yes,
right,
something like
that.
But
I mean, the Winternationals
is the
where's
first.
that going to go down in the history book? 20 years from now, people are going to go back and go, "Oh, Capp's won the Winternationals. He won the first race with those guys."
Right. They put the team together. They came out and they won. They stomped on them. And I saw Kelly Antonelli post that Guido has won the Winternationals 3 times in a row, and I was like, "What?" And so I had to go back and I want to go back and go look, but whatever. We got it in, man. Whatever it happened, whatever. I do want to attack the people who are calling out the crowd. I saw a lot of that. The keyboard crew chief naysayers who've got nothing else better to do but spread negativity and disinformation out there on the web. So much of them. But I looked at the stands Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I looked at those people, and I thought about in 3 months, they'll be able to come back and watch a championship decided in beautiful weather 3 months from now. And all of those people, however many there were, they braved extreme heat. They braved a public health pandemic that is on the rise. They braved all of those things. Why are we not honoring those diehard and devoted, amazing fans who decided to come and spend the day with us instead of lamenting the ones that didn't? And I think that tells you everything you need to know about those people.
I don't know why you pay attention to those people. I just skip right over them.
That's a good answer.
It's the same thing as the guys, 3 years ago. Pro stock's dead. That's it. It's over. It ran its course. Hello? Pro stock.
You're not on Facebook. The wisdom is you're not on Facebook. That's the wisdom. You're the best.
It doesn't matter. I can still skip over. I do enough on some of the chat boards and some of the other things that if I see something I don't like, I can just skip over it. It doesn't bother me a bit. But when you have near 100-degree days, and I get it. It's not comfortable to go outside, and a lot of the fans didn't feel like it, and for whatever reason. So I get it. The sky's not falling. We had an event that had poor attendance for a couple of different reasons, and we'll move on to the next one.
Exactly.
You don't have to look back very far to see full stands, right? How did we do in Sonoma when the weather was nice? And so, like I said, the sky's not falling. It's put this away and just move on to the next one.
And the idea that we even had a race is a miracle in Southern California. Like, we had a race a year ago. There was who knew what was going to happen? And we raced both of our California races, so we got them in. That's it, man. We got them in. The people who wanted to go came. The races and the stories were great. Leah, Capps, Aaron Stanfield, Matt Smith, great racing top to bottom. Those keyboard crew chiefs, man, they get under my skin a little bit, just a little bit, but you're right. Hey, we got people checking in out there. Jim Essex, who I met, Golden Valley, Arizona, met him out there. Great stuff. Brian Brewster says, is he going to be the next Tanner Gray minus the retiring after championship to go left? Talking about Aaron Stanfield, very possible. Jeremy out there, not the retiring thing. A lot of people out there. Scott enjoyed the Ignition show. Jim saying, what's up? Everybody. Blake has now moved from Ohio to Wyoming, Alan, just in case you're keeping up. All great stuff. Even our friend Jeff Foster out there saying what's up. Great event. All right, where do you want to start? Let's start in Top Fuel. I think when Justin Ashley and that team made the very difficult moment decision to get out of the car, that told me a little bit of something about where our sport is and how we've evolved. I can imagine a scenario not that long ago where somebody would have said, tough it out, or get out there, or you got to put your team before your health. Like, that stuff happened. And when I talked to Mike Ashley, and he said not even a championship is worth my kid risking his health or his situation, I felt so good about where we were. He'll have other opportunities. Clearly the right decision. But I'm sure they had to, it was, I'm sure he wanted to run the race.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I think it's also a case of, I don't know that they knew just how bad the situation was until they got there. I know I found out after the fact that he hadn't been feeling well back in the pits, and that he hadn't been feeling well in the staging lanes, and decided to go ahead and get in the car and make what was literally, the last second decision. But I agree with you. I think the decision they made was the right one, and applaud them for it. And, there's always going to be somebody out there that, a tough guy would have done it. And okay, fine. So what? But they did what was right for them at that time, and I don't have any issue with it. I think the same thing as Clay getting out of his car a couple weeks ago. When he went out there Friday night, knew he had an issue, but felt like, okay, well, this will be all right. Got in the car and went, okay, this ain't good, and made the right decision. So there's always going to be another race. There's always going to be another day, and don't do something that's stupid. Just to prove to everybody how tough you are. That's
And
everybody who cares about you knows you made the right decision, and ain't nobody going to hold it against you.
And I just texted back and forth a little bit with Justin a few minutes ago, and I wonder, the example set by Clay Millican a few races ago, right fresh in our mind, and even with the Olympics with Simone Biles getting the twisties, and a lot of people attacked her. There's so much viciousness inside of so many people out there. But that's a safety issue as well. Like the good example, when Clay set that example, had to be so hard to get out of that car for Clay, but he made the right call and set an example for so many people. And now it's like, no, Clay got out, I'm getting out. And I think it's just good. I feel so good about where we are on that level, at very least. Drivers knowing to make the right decision.
Yeah, I think so too. And, Leah had a good car. She certainly deserved to be in the final. And I think it would have been a good final if they had run it. But, I've said for 5 or 6 weeks now that if Leah just could get rid of all the bad luck, right? I mean, have whatever you need to have to get rid of it. Have an exorcism that they had a good car. They just couldn't make consistent runs. They couldn't string consistent runs together. And they certainly have now the last couple of weeks. So I think she'll be a force going forward also.
It's always the darkest before the dawn. There's a million cliches, right? If there's a cliche about it, chances are it's true. And when that car flooded the starting line with oil at the Dodge SRT Nationals in Denver, they had been struggling and having problems, and it wasn't going right. And they had just run into more than their fair share of bizarre, weird issues. But that was rock bottom. Sponsors race, and stood there with Leah, and she addressed the crowd, a wall of people at Bandamere, and said, we're going to fix this. We're going to fix it for you fans. And then made a final, and then won a race in the next 2 races. Like, to me, they all kind of go together as the story of Leah in 2021. And now I'm expecting even more. So it was a great finish for Leah.
Yeah, I think so too. And, Steve getting bounced early, that's been a while since that happened. I think it's only the second time in the last 12 races that there wasn't a Capco car in the final round at the end of the day. I'm certainly not saying that, it's time for the changing of the guard or, write them off or Steve's never going to win again. But, on that day, on that particular track, everything was just so weird, from the, qualifying in the evening and then coming out and racing at a different time of day. Nobody had really a good baseline, I don't think, going into round number 1. I think it was a big crapshoot, because even the afternoon run that the teams made was on a 140-degree racetrack, not on a 110-degree or 12-degree, whatever it was when we started. So, it just that kind of opened up the playing field, I think, a little bit. And, Steve out early for the first time in a long time, so that means that they're going to be headed for Kansas with vengeance on their mind, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that was no sweep of the swing, and we made a lot of it, as we should. And
I didn't.
You didn't make a big thing of it. Well, I see, and I understand that. That's the story. Will he do it? It's a big deal. Like, think of the home run record. You're getting closer, you're getting closer, you're getting closer. Like Greg Anderson with this milestone, right? Like a lot of the conversation, the pressure of the milestone. if you don't make a big deal of it, people aren't going to get interested in watching it.
But it's a story when you get close to it. It's not a story when you win Denver. I mean, somebody had to win Denver. And there were a lot of people at that point going, okay, these are the people that are going for the swing. Come on, really? They won one race. And you got, is anybody right now talking about Aaron Stanfield breaking Warren Johnson's record? No. Wait till he gets a little closer to it. There's just so much water has to go into the bridge between now and then. So, they'll be back. They'll try again another day. I did think it was interesting that Steve's string came to an end at the hands of Antron, who is the last guy who swept the swing. So, apparently Antron is the guy, didn't want Steve in that club and stopped him from doing it. That now Antron still gets to be the last guy to sweep the swing. So, good on him.
Yes, and I think beat Steve at the finals the year Brittany won the championship. I'd have to go back and look at that. So it's just kind of interesting that at Pomona, Antron is a nemesis for Steve, clearly. That team's getting better, too. Like, I talked to Brian Karate a few times there. This is not a foregone conclusion this season. As much as the Capco team has been dominant, and they did lose a race. Like, oh my gosh, the Capco team lost a race. What happened? But these other teams are progressing. You mentioned Justin Ashley. They're all progressing. Are they going to be able to string 7 together at the end of the year? We don't know. But they're progressing. It's not a foregone conclusion.
Well, the Capco team has won 6 races this year, 6 for Steve and 1 for Billy. So they have won a lot of races where just the good fortune went their way. They've got a great race car. I'm not taking anything away from that. But Epping, Steve won 3 races on hole shots. He's done a couple of races when he's won a couple of pedaling fests. He's done a couple of things that races that could have gone either way, but they all are going his way at this time. And everybody knows that doesn't last forever. Are the Capco boys going to be there? Absolutely they are. But can you keep having all of the good fortune and all of the lucky breaks and all of the things fall your way? You just can't do that forever. So you ride it as long as you can. You keep working as hard as you can. And I think it's going to be a fun championship run. I think, Brittany's team right now needs to win a race. That's what they need to do because they know they've got a fast car. Look at all the number 1 qualifiers. Look at all they know. What they need to do now is prove to themselves that they can win a race because believe in it, thinking it. How many times have we talked about it? But doing it, once you do it, then everybody's mindset goes, okay, now let's do it again. Not let's prove we can do this once. And I think they're going to be in contention. I think a lot of people keep waiting for the Coletta teams to wake up, right? I mean, they've been just what happened. I noticed Ronnie Thompson down on the starting line with a Mac Tool shirt on this week. So, Connie making some moves and doing to try to just bring in, some more brains, some more eyes, some more smart people to try to figure out what is it that we're missing because that team is too good to have struggled for as long as they have this year. They're going to snap out of it. So there's still a lot of racing left to go. It's going to be fun to watch.
There is still a lot of racing left to go. I was happy though, just side stories. I was happy to see the Travers Tool car get a couple of win lights, right? Like when they broke that car out and I know this is extreme. I don't know if everybody understands, but I certainly understand how personal that is and that family is to you, aside from like work related stuff. And to see that car, okay, that was great, but to not get a win light, and I wasn't sure if they were bringing it back or what they were doing. I didn't know that if that was made public, I didn't know. But when I saw the car come out at Pomona, I felt great. And to be able to speak with Alan after a win, to light the scoreboard a couple of times with that car, like it would have been great to see him win a race, but they had to get a win light with the car, and they did. They got a couple of them, and that was really nice.
Yeah, it was, it's a great thing that, Melanie coming up with the idea and then her and Brian putting it all together and making it work, without telling AJ until it was done, I think is a pretty cool thing. But, it just made sense. I think it made very good logic sense to bring it to Pomona since Sonoma, where they debuted it, is where Blaine won his last race in Top Fuel. Pomona is where he won his first race in Top Fuel. He won the 95 World Finals after having a solid season, a lot of number 1 qualifiers, a lot of, they learned how to go fast, but they hadn't yet learned how to win. And then when they won the 95 finals, that was their tipping point when they learned how to win. And then they went into 96 and started winning on a pretty regular basis until, of course, the tragedy in Indy.
Yeah, exactly. But they got it done, and exposing that whole history. That's another thing. It's like we've got all these fans, like a new generation of fans, multiple new generations of fans now, and they're what's up with that? And that's a reason to go do some research and search the YouTube and learn about Blaine and learn what he was and what he did and how good he was and how great they were going to be. And you need to do things to drive the current fans back into the history archives to see it. And in Funny Car, the Moon Eyes car, perfect example of that, right? Monica said, love seeing that car. And Jim Dunn, wow, they had a decent day. Let me give the points, though. Steve, even despite the round one loss to Antron, still 313 points out in front of second place, followed by Brittany, Leah, Sean Langdon, the top five. And it's reasonably tight heading on back once you get past Antron. But what we're all watching is Clay Milliken holding on to 10th, Josh Hart 11th, Buddy Hull 12th. So it all depends on, is Josh Hart, how many races is he going to run and what can he do, whether or not that 10th position is safe or not. Judging what I've heard, I think Clay's running all the races, so he's probably going to be safe. What do you think?
I think he'll be okay. And, that's another car that is certainly running better. They've had a couple of strange for them incidents. They really try very hard not to hurt parts, and not that anybody that goes out there and goes, hey, watch me blow up all my stuff. But because they don't have quite as big a budget as some of the other teams, they don't have quite as much inventory or spare parts in the trailer. They've really got to be careful with the way they run that thing. And they have had a couple of failures, a couple of times where they've hurt things. So, that's got them maybe a little bit conservative mode. But I think that car's going to be in the top 10. I don't think there's any question about that. It's going to be in the countdown.
I like seeing Jeff out there on YouTube. Good seeing people switching over to the YouTube channel, WFO Radio TV, and all of that. All right, let's move over to Funny Car, which full field in Funny Car and Slugfest, right? Like, just love what I'm seeing in Funny Car. Capp's the number one qualifier again, 4th on the season, and they are just quick and fast, and they got that new chassis, and they're feeling pretty good about it. They are able to storm to the final round. Not an easy day for Capps, right? Gets through Bobby Bodie, who kept him honest, Bob Tasca, John Force, and then J.R. Todd. But the run that I think everybody was talking about was Matt Hagan, John Force, first round. I know you made a big deal about it, like when it popped up on the ladder, like after qualifying. It was, oh my gosh, these two got to run each other first round. But then there was that top end incident. And I have been doing my fair share of research and behind the scenes reporting to find out, what exactly went down. When I watched it in real time, I didn't see anything that I thought was so out of the ordinary that would have sparked any real controversy. What about you? What were your thoughts? And then I've spoken with some people since, but I kind of want to start it off with what you saw and what you thought.
Well, I didn't say anything when I watched it originally either. I mean, Force double bulbed him. Matt went right in. I didn't see that as anything that was, worth getting upset about. Matt switched lanes on him before they went in and fired things up because they had to clean up in the one lane prior to that first pair. So that gave them a little extra time to think about it. But and the other thing is, Matt left first. I mean, it's not like, okay, well, John screwed with him on the starting line, screwed up his routine, beat him on a hole shot. Matt left first by a considerable amount.
Yeah, 59 to 111.
Yeah, and John drove by him. So I'm not sure what Matt was so upset about. It's not like anything John did in my mind. I didn't steal the race from you. I didn't put you in a bet. You just didn't have a fast enough car to win the race. And, I don't know, maybe some of it's just first round frustration, that you get beat in the first round, that you end up having to run that guy and he sends you home so early in the day. But I think everybody will be paying attention the next time those two line up, don't you?
Well, yeah. Well, exactly. You may recall anytime John Force is involved in any kind of incident, it's a big deal. I got up. Well, first of all, I talked to John on the starting line because we heard Amanda's characterization of what happened. We didn't get to see it, or at least I didn't get to see it. And so I went and talked to John, and John was just like, I want to move on. I want to move forward. So I didn't know. So I got up today, and here in Miami, I guess they didn't air the race on Fox, which I don't know, but my DVR got Fox Sports 1. And so I'm fast forwarding through to try to find the run to watch it all play out. And for whatever reason, the run was not included in the replay of the broadcast. It's like, we're going to break. Top fuel. That's top fuel. We're going to break. We'll be back after the break with Funny Car. Come back. First pair of Funny Cars. And they're like, yeah, man, that was great stuff with John Force. So I never really got to see the true, like, everything that happened. But I have been told by people that Hagan initiated it, went over to Force while Force was still strapped in the car and said, hey, man, I hear you're better than that, right? To have to do the starting line stuff. And then Force, and this is the part they showed on the TV show that I saw, kind of a recap when Hagan did the interview with Bruno, which I don't know if you watched all of this stuff or not, but they went into the pit with Hagan, and Hagan said, I treat this guy with great respect because of who he is, but now I'm not going to do that anymore because of stuff like this. Force went over to Hagan, and they got nose to nose and had a couple of words. What those words were, I don't know. Didn't get to see that either, but that's the drama we're looking for, Alan. Like, come on. That's exactly the type of stuff. And yes, it was disappointing that it was edited out of the replay that I saw on Fox Sports 1. But here we go. Next time they race, this is coming right back to the front.
Yeah, we'll all be paying attention and we'll see what happens. But again, I don't think, and if I'm Matt, I'm not sure that I want to tell the whole world, if you want to get under my skin, double bulb me. Going forward, we'll see. I don't know, if it'll turn into something, if it'll get smoothed over, but I just, the guy who had the fast car won the race. And so there you have it.
That's it. And I'm sure it's just frustration, right? Frustration, the heat for you people out there, you're watching on TV and you're thinking about, keeping your cool is a saying, but it's a saying for a reason. When you're hot, you're irritable. It's aggravating. And you're in the funny car. You're in the suit. Force does that move. Then you lose. You look at, I think he just lost his cool for a second. But that's what this is about. And now we're going to carry that story forward.
And we'll all find out. Like I said, the next time those two get together, we'll see if, something weird happens or if it goes back to normal.
Mitchell weighing in, staging games are part of the game. And Cruz told us a couple of weeks ago, it's the old school guys are okay with starting line games, gamesmanship, rolling in deep, all of that match race stuff, right? The new school guys, they don't seem to appreciate it. Maybe because they're younger and they've got the reaction time ability to just stage super shallow and they're superior athletes and all of that. But the old school guys, Cruz is like, that's what I do. This is okay. And the break between the two of those things, it's kind of interesting because you got a polarization of whether or not that stuff's okay. And me being an old school guy, I like it.
Well, the only way somebody can play games with you is if you decide to play. If you go up and go, dun, 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 what are they going to do? I mean, the most somebody could do is hold you up for the 7 seconds, I guess, if they wanted to do that. But there's so many times when this stuff, the best double bulb move I ever saw was in Pro Stock, Las Vegas. Couldn't tell you what year. It was a 2-wide race. Jim Yates was racing, and the guy rolled in, and it was a new guy, rolled in and double bulbed it. And I'm absolutely certain that it was an accident. Because, this guy's not going to go messing with a 3-time champion. I think he's nervous and he just goes in and he gets too much. So Jim, watching all this happen, goes, okay. So he pulls up and stops a couple inches behind the line, gets his brake pressure set, does everything before he pre-staged. And then just dove in, double bulbed, and went to the mat. While the guy in the other lane is going, oh, crap, now what? And ended up winning the race. I mean, the guy, I don't remember what it was, but, Yates is 50 on the tree and the guy's 350 on the tree or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, there's your lesson. If you're going to double bulb me, and if I'm Hagan and John double bulbs me, that's exactly what I'm doing. When Dickie stops me 6 inches behind, I'm going pump on, off the pedal, in. Because at that point, I don't know if John's on the pedal. I don't know if John's turned the pump on. But why give him time to?
Yes.
That's what I would do. And so I don't know. We'll see the next time they race.
It adds an element to the sport, and there's so many people that we all have opinions, right? Like, my opinion isn't right, but it's my opinion. I think it adds an element to the sport, the style with which you attack the staging process. And if John Force at 72 years old can figure out how to get tricky against guys every time out there and go to semifinal rounds, and then we talked to Capps, and Capps, he deep staged against Capps, and Force will tell you, like, was it even on purpose? We don't know, and we'll never know, right? What could have been for, I don't even know what I'm doing up there. I'm just trying to do my best. We don't know. But Capps loved it in the media center. And I think he's like, John is going, I'm at Pomona. And he's going to be on tomorrow at 1 o'clock, everybody. Capps, we're going to talk about this. Don't miss it. I'm at Pomona. It's the Winter Nationals. I'm a drag racer. I got John Force in the other lane, and he's going in deep trying to get tricky on me. This is as great as it gets, and Capps embraced it and went out there and won.
Yeah, good. If it depends on who your guy is, I guess, right? If you're a Matt Hagan fan, you go, oh, well, Force is playing dirty. And if you're a John Force fan, hey, all's fair in love and staging. So have at it. But at least if you're watching and you're interested and it gets your attention, then it's a good thing.
Exactly. Look at this guy. Wilkie Funny Car 7. I did that to Johnny Gray on accident, first round at Indy, and he acted like he didn't even notice, haha, old guys rule. Could that be Wilk watching the show and commenting?
Could be.
We're going to need more evidence. I don't know. Tell me something only Wilkerson would know. There
Send
you
me
go.
a text.
There it is. Send a text. Exactly. It is me. Jeremy says it's drag racing. Plus, the sport needs this. The lack of personality is old. Right. Well, that's the thing, man. Like, that's a dramatic moment of something going on. But in the end, it comes down to JR and Ron Capps. Got to give some love to JR because Todd Smith and Jono were very open and with everything they were doing all weekend long. I spoke to Todd several times and, racing the racetrack, right? Just racing the racetrack. Gets around Jeff Deal. So great to see Jeff and Lisa back out. So great to see them back out. Gets around him, gets through Robert, gets through Jim Campbell. Let's give them some love, too. The Moon Eyes car going down the racetrack. 1-2 legit races, got down the racetrack and was in the mix in the third, but JR was able to get around him. The Moon Eyes car is awesome. Everybody loves it. I think they should run it everywhere else.
Well, I think that some of his other sponsors might have something to say about that.
Yeah,
but no, it was cool seeing it out in Pomona, especially just the basic black and white. When he and Alexis ran in the second round, and it's, you didn't need color film to take a picture of these two. I just thought that was cool, going, kind of flashing back in time. And it was good to see him. But that, when you've got a racetrack that's that hot and you've got conditions that nobody's really comfortable with, I think that's a real good equalizer for a guy like Jim Dunn, who's not going to come out and try to run 385 anyway. But he's going to come out and try to run 410 or something. And if that's all the track will take, then I think that really brings the race a whole lot more to him. And I think that played him into them making it to the semifinals.
Absolutely. Final round, though, Capps and JR, and those guys have slugged it out here at the finals the year that JR became the champion. He did it by beating Ron Capps. Just amazing to see, and Capps was very appreciative after this victory. Interesting to see what's going on and taking over the points lead. That's a big deal for Ron Capps. As in the media center, he laid it out there. He now has a 5-point lead over Tasca. Force is 36 back, Roberts 37 back, Hagan 45 back, JR 57 back. You got to get back to Alexis 102 back in 7th. So it's wide open who has got a shot to get that number 1 spot going into the countdown. Still totally up in the air. Yeah,
and I think Ron was surprised when they told him that he had the point lead too, because he came into the event, if I'm not mistaken, 5th. But with Bob Tasca going out early, Force went out relatively early, at his hand. But they're so tight in there right now that we could change. We could have a new point leader coming out of Topeka and a different point leader coming out of Brainerd, and by the time we get to Indy, those guys, we all know they're going to be there. It's just going to be a matter of who can get hot or get a little bit of momentum here for the next couple of weeks.
And at the bottom of the top 10. And I know some people hate the countdown. I like the countdown, and I get all the arguments, and it is what it is. You got Blake Alexander sitting 10th, and the Jim Head car is running better. Like, they're looking good. He has knocked Terry Haddock out, but only by 6 points. Terry Haddock is 11th, and now Jim Campbell is within 20 points of that also. Paul Lee has said he's going to run the rest of the races. So you got Paul Lee, Jim Campbell, Terry Haddock, Blake Alexander fighting for that last spot. And Cruz is safe up there in 9th. We got 4 cars fighting for 1 spot in the top 10. And that's something we're going to have to stay updated on every week. And Paul Lee's got to make some ground. Terry Haddock, they've been going to all the races. It's going to be a fight. Like, who's going to get it?
Yeah, and the same thing, who's going to get a round or two here or there, because that's what's going to make the difference. I don't see any of those guys going out and winning the next 2 races. So who's going to get a round here and there to make the difference, so they can at least start the countdown in the top 10?
Yes, then that's why we have a countdown. And if you're a fan of any one of those teams, you now have a reason to be focused and get out there and cheer your guys on. And if you don't like one of those drivers for another reason, you got to root against them. Like, that's it. The bottom of the points matter in this situation.
Well, we got 2 more races to figure it out. I guess 3 if you count Indy. So, a lot to keep an eye on in funny car, especially. It was great to have, 18 cars duking it out. The final qualifying session was fun. I thought, hey, look, you're in. Oh, wait, look, you just got bumped out. Up, you're back in. But, and I do think we need to give Jason Rupert a shout out. I mean, qualified for the first time, but kablooied the thing on the run, ruined the body. I know they tried 3 or 4 different bodies back in the pits, but he's got a Steve Kluger car. There just aren't many of those out there anymore. So none of the others, my understanding, would actually fit without making some major adjustments. So qualified for the big show for the first time, unable to show up in round number 1 because they kablooied the body off of the thing. So I hope he's able to get another body mounted and get the thing ready to go, and that we'll see him again sooner or not later.
Well, and so I have a little direct reporting on that, just speaking with a couple of the guys, Tobler, of course, and a couple of guys in the winner circle that were hanging out with Capps. And what's amazing to me is there's so many people that talk about going big show racing. Like, I'm getting a car, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, you hear a lot of talk, and I know you've heard of millions over the years. But then once you do it, there's like a switch is flipped. Like, oh, man, they're doing it. Okay. And I heard that the offers of help and assistance to Jason Rupert were like crew chiefs were coming in. Well, we got a body. No, we got a body. Maybe our body. Maybe another body. Like, everyone was offering them everything to help get them back out on the racetrack. And so they've shown that they want to do it, and they're here to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they figure out what to do and people get them on the track sooner rather than later. And thank goodness for them. Great seeing Brad Littlefield out there, and just good stuff having them out there.
Yeah, and you'll never forget your first qualified. The first time you qualified when you kablooied the thing, and then couldn't come back for round 1. So now he's got another milestone, which will be his first Sunday round 1 coming to look forward to.
Yes. All right, moving over to Pro Stock, where Greg Anderson was the number 1 qualifier. Got a bye run first round. He is able to go through Chris McGahey, Kyle Koretsky to get to the final round against Aaron Stanfield. Aaron, 6th overall, goes through Kenny Delco, Matt Hartford, and Erica. So an easy day for Aaron to get to the final round. Oh my gosh, you're going through Hartford and Erica.
You can make the world a brighter place for yourself.
Oh, that's NHRA.com giving me an ad with volume, even though I do not request it, but that's okay. This kid Stanfield. Now, I wanted to nickname it. Listen, I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you. It's happening right here on the air.
All right.
The family said that they call him the Iceman inside the team, that he's the Iceman. And I said to you, Alan, they call him the Iceman. And you said no. And I respect that. But then, yesterday, right before the final, you said, I have never seen a kid who is so young and so cool under pressure and cool in this situation. You're making all these ice cold references. Why can't he be the Iceman?
Maybe.
I'm laughing. I'm like, he's this kid.
He could be the Ice Kid.
He is 23 years old. I mean, I get that. But you're like, he's so cool under pressure. I was like, yes, Alan, he is. That's why they call him the Iceman. And he's wisdom wise beyond his. It's like, yeah, Alan, that's why they call him the Iceman. Hey, listen, I know Iceman, Top Gun. Maybe we don't like it, but anyway, kid's amazing, right? Like, and he doesn't care about any of that other stuff. He's out for his own, and he can do it.
Do you know how long it's been since somebody's won back-to-back pro stock races?
Oh my gosh, good stat. Don't know.
Well, it's been a while.
Do you know?
The last guy to do it was Jeg Coughlin.
When?
It's been a while.
How a while? A year? 2 years?
Jeg won the World Finals 19 and the Winternationals in 20. That's the last time that somebody won. The same driver won back-to-back pro stock races.
And almost that doesn't even count because there was a winter break in between. What about in the middle of the same season?
Yeah, you go back a few more races, and Greg won 2 of them back-to-back in 19. But just the fact that Jeg Coughlin is the last one to win back-to-back races is like, And the guy that's not hanging out anymore. It's still amazing to me that Greg has such a performance advantage, like right up until the final.
Yes.
And they've got to figure that out. Whatever it is, they've got to figure that out. Because when Aaron dropped the clutch first, and it's like, that might be enough, and then he outran him anyway. That was the thing that was surprising to me because, Greg, for the most part this year, if you want to beat him, you better get off the starting line first because he's got the best car. So he gets to, answer the when are you going to tie Warren thing for another couple of weeks until he can, hopefully at some point put that behind him.
Roger Richards making a very good argument about Iceman being overused, and I get that. He suggests Icicle. I am against Icicle, and I think Aaron is against Icicle as well. But I get it. I get it. And Aaron is the kid. He's not the kid. Richie Stevens, the kid. We got to work on this, though, man. This kid's the real deal. How? And this is, the rivalry between KB Racing and Elite. Elite loves denying Greg Anderson the victory. Like on the starting line, the celebration of are they more satisfied winning the race, or are they more satisfied denying Greg Anderson this milestone over and over again? That is the question. Why
does it have to be one or the other?
Yeah.
I think that they're just doing it, and at the end of the day, they keep backing Greg up another week and backing Greg up another week. But it's coming, I think. And I also think you get to the point now where, nobody wants to be that guy because somebody's going to be a footnote in history. I was really when I was looking at the ladder, I was thinking if Erica gets around Aaron in the semis, then, right, it comes down to he never wanted to be that guy for her first, and she certainly doesn't want to be that girl for his tied Warren milestone. Yeah. But I thought that would have been like the ultimate poetic justice. And then, Aaron went out and ruined everything because Aaron's a big old ruiner.
He is. He's ruining everybody. He's ruining the whole thing. And he's got a quick and fast. And the guys on that team, I spoke with Big Al Lindsay about it. And Al, was like, Al, man, you just won back-to-back races. Worked many years with Mike Edwards. He goes, he reminds me so much of Mike Edwards. Like nothing phases him. The kid just absorbs and does and succeeds. And so that's a pretty good comparison, I think.
And his dad's laying on a beach someplace. So,
yeah.
If you're Greg, it's like, okay, well, I guess I don't have to worry about that anymore. He can take care of that without me. And he literally sent me a picture of the beach. So. Okay.
Then someone has been outed as telling stories because Aaron said he's at home doing my job because I'm out here racing. So we've caught them in an inaccuracy.
He sent me a picture of a beach. That's all I'm saying. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he downloaded it.
Maybe. Right. He wants you to think he's on the beach while he's actually in there making power for, this guy says Greg will win at BIR, his real home track. Is Pro Stock going to BIR?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think
Pro
so.
Mod's going up there.
Right. So, yeah.
I'd have to. I got my list over here if you want me to go look.
Go look. Everybody.
Or
yeah, he's stepping out, but we'll look at Alan's stuff. Like, look, he's got 2 motorcycles. He's got the Mustang. No, I don't think they're going to BIR. Is the deal. So sorry on that. But want to remind everybody, subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. We had a fun Ignition show yesterday, and it's up for you all to listen to. And tomorrow we got Ron Capps. Ron Capps is going to be joining us at 1 p.m. Eastern time, working on getting Leah. And if you're out there watching, you should definitely be sharing the show, man. You should be sharing this show right now. Do the share move. Yeah, Jim is taking it back. Sorry, I forgot. No, they won't be there. No, I do that all the time, Jim.
Brainerd gets no Pro Stock, but they do get Top Fuel Harley and Pro Modified.
Nice. Pro Mod up there. And that whole new schedule where we move the cars around and let our fans experience all kinds of new stuff. It's cool. I like it. All right, point standings. Greg is still the leader, 126 ahead of Greg, gobbling up little bits of the lead, but put a little bit of a gap between himself and Erica now, about 60 points. Hartford back there in fourth, Dallas Glenn fifth, and Chris McGahey is 10th. Kenny Delco on the outside looking in. So I think the only vulnerable driver is Chris McGahey. Kenny Delco and Val Smeeland have shown that they have got occasionally quick and fast cars, but I don't know. I feel like Chris should be able to hold on to that spot.
Well, we'll find out. I look forward to when the quaders come back, and that always livens up the field a little bit. One, because they seem to win rounds that maybe people think that they shouldn't. They have found some kind of a magic thing that they'll qualify down there sometimes 13, 14, 15, and still end up in the semifinals. And so when that team comes back, that could have a pretty big influence over who actually ends up in the top 10 when we're going to countdown.
Spence asks about mountain motor cars. Are they going to run mountain motor cars at all this year? I don't think they've been out yet. And the answer is I don't think that's part of the program this year.
Well, they were supposed to be at Richmond, and we didn't go there.
And
the first time they're supposed to be at Topeka, so maybe we'll see them next week.
Okay, there you go. And everyone's asking about the quadras. And so if the quadras are out there watching, it's like you guys, people are into you. Where have they been? The last time I talked to Fernando, they were just, parts is still a challenge, and they were kind of getting on their new program, and they decide they're not going to race when they're on the precipice of coming out with what they feel like is a really good program. They'd rather get it ready, and then when they show up, be successful.
Well, you're in a good position when you're in Fernando's position, and that is that financially he can do whatever he wants. And so if he wants to do his own engine program, he wants to do his own stuff, and I know they were working with Frank for a while, and I know that they certainly had a connection there, but he doesn't have to come out and do this. If he doesn't feel like they're ready, or if he feels like, we'd be better off staying at home to work, he doesn't have to go out there in order to satisfy a sponsor or take care of a contractual obligation or doing something. He can do what he needs to do. And then when he comes out, I think he feels like he's going to be even more competitive than they were before. And if that's the way he wants to do it, then it's his nickel. So more power to him.
Yeah, I actually think it's a smart play. We'll know soon enough when they get back out there. But they got a taste of what it is and what they need and what will be required of them. And now they're going back to get it right and raise their game even a little bit more. And we shall see exactly what goes down. All right, let's talk Pro Stock Motorcycle, where Matt Smith earns a bye run first round, gets around Angie the second round. Angie takes down Steve Johnson, and I talked to Angie. She's like, she was aggravated. I love that battle because Angie she gets angry, right? She's like, oh, Matt, like it's awesome how she just lets it all hang out there. But Matt's tough right now. He's tough. Gets around Scotty Polachek. Scotty goes 007, so he beats both his teammates. Goes to the final round against Angel. Angel goes around Jimmy Underdahl, Joey Gladstone, and Eddie, which had to be very satisfying for Angel to beat Eddie, and sets up the Matt versus Eddie. Angel misses the tree a little bit, but he just uncorked a great run with an 82. And Matt Smith gets it done again.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Smith wins motorcycle is almost as much non-news as Steve Torrance wins Top Fuel. It's just happening on such a regular basis. It was nice to see Angel get competitive again, though, and I hope she can keep that going. I thought it was very telling when we talked to her at the top end of the racetrack after Q2. And, everybody knows that, Angel is emotional, and she wears it on her sleeve, and you can always tell, how she's feeling, and she had been kind of beating herself up a little bit. And she got off the bike after that second round, and she said, okay, I'm mad now. This team is about excellence. This team is terrific. This team, and I'm not holding up my end of it. I'm not doing my job to the level that my team is, and I'm mad. And she got back on the bike from that point forward, and she looked like she was riding with a chip on her shoulder. I think, I really believe she had been going up the starting line a little timid sometimes because she was trying to put pressure on herself and trying to, I got to be better. I got to do this. I got to concentrate. And it just takes you out of, when you're in that situation, you can't be thinking. You've got to be going with instinct and react. And when she went up there and said, okay, I've had it now. I'm pissed off. Get me that motorcycle and I'm going to show it who's boss. And then she came back and really did look like her old self as far as a championship rider. She missed the ball by thinking of the second round. And the first thing she said is, I got to do better. Came back in the semifinals, did better. It looked like it hurt the motor in the last round. It was smoking in the shutdown area, but Matt, as you said, put down a great run. But hopefully, Angel will continue to be competitive and be more competitive because it's more fun when she's in the mix. And the Harley guys did not have what I would call a great Western swing, or the Vance and Hines guys, I should say, did not have a great Western swing. But they just keep working on stuff. I spoke to Eddie earlier in the weekend, and he told me something I thought was very telling. The bikes they're riding are the same bikes. They changed the bodywork over to the Buell bodywork. But the seat position on a Buell is considerably different than it was on their old FXDRs. And so for whatever it's been, 3 years of getting the balance and getting everything perfect, when you move the rider 2 or 2.5 inches, now you got to start all over again.
Right.
And so they just really haven't quite gotten the sweet spot down yet. But that just gives them more to work on. And those guys certainly are not afraid of work.
Yes. Yeah. A couple of things. I probably wouldn't say this at a national event, but I can say it on WFO radio. Mad Angel is hot. Like, people like that. That is putting on a show. Seeing a champion like Angel go out there and just totally focus through anger. That is what we want to see. That's the kind of thing that's going to make people watch drag racing. Like, who's that? What's up? Let's watch. So great. Both of the Vance and Hines guys are now in the top 10. Eddie and Andrew, Corey Reed and Jerry outside, Jimmy Underdahl outside, but really it's Corey Reed and Jerry and Andrew and Joey that are really going to be battling for those last spots. And I think that's in question because Joey's quick, Eddie's quick, Corey Reed has been going some rounds, getting some points. I wouldn't characterize who's going to make it, and that makes it fun. The next time we'll see them, though, is at Indy. The bikes are done till Indy, so that's going to be a big race with 1.5 points on the line.
Yeah, it will be, and that gives everybody a chance to go back and do some, make sure that you're prepared. If you need to go test, go test. If you need to work on your engines, work on your engines. If you need to, but that gives everybody a chance to go back and be sure that they will be ready when it comes time to get to Indy and get into the battle.
Excellent, excellent. Spence says that Mountain Motor will be in Brainerd, not Topeka. They're running PDRA on Maple Grove at the Topeka weekend. But we love our Mountain Motor brothers. That's bottom line. And as we get going with schedules and stuff, it's, we're sorting it all out. But I can't wait to see them back this year. Great stuff. Great race. Let's talk about some of the other Lucas Oil Series winners who got the job done this weekend. Unless you have a final note about Pro Stock Motorcycle, Pro Stock, or anything you else want to throw out there.
All good.
Terry Ruckman, Sean Cowie in the alcohol cars. Kind of cool that Johnny Lindbergh is tuning a car from Sweden, and his chassis are popping up, and when you get one, you win a race. Seems like that's the case.
Yeah, it was, for the Ruckman brothers, their first win in a couple of years, their first win outside of Las Vegas. Their previous 2 national event wins in both Las Vegas.
NHRA.com with the volume. Sorry, guys.
But they had a good race car. They qualified in the number 1 spot and had a good car. Doug Gordon with a semifinal exit at the hands of Brian Haug. So, Brian's car is certainly coming around and running well. Didn't have a big field of funny cars, but definitely had some solid talent in the funny car ranks. So congratulations to the Ruckmans and Sean Cowie, right? What a shock. Sean Cowie won a race. Who saw that coming?
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to run as good as they did, both he and Joey, with the racetrack as hot as it was. And, they qualify number 1 or 2. They go through the field and they end up in the final round where Sean gets the better of it this time. So not a huge surprise there either.
And one of our listeners is a racer as well. I just want to give him a little bit of a shout out to Troy. Did the Dragster Challenge at Woodburn yesterday, took it all the way to the finals. I wish every person would do that program. Drag racing is the most popular sport in the country. If they did the program, I guess he's talking about Frank Hawley's school. Had a 21 light in the final to his opponent's 20. Both ran 10:61, lost by 6 thou. It was an incredible experience, says Troy Abercrombie. All I care about is if you mentioned WFO, Troy, that's important to me. But yes, experiencing drag racing is about so much more than just going down the track. Going down the track is one part of it, which is why, like, I think we were all super excited to see Tony experience heartbreak, the downside, a final, a win, right? Tony has been, when I say Tony, I mean Tony Stewart. But eventually he's going to have to experience that, like, there's another person in the other lane trying to beat you. And Leah went on a huge discussion point in the media center about exactly that in the Drag Illustrated column, and how Tony has got such respect for these drivers that he didn't want to just like get his license and be a licensed driver. He didn't get his license because he thinks it's disrespectful to the real racers that are actually competing out there. If he were to do it, it would be in concert with something else. And I love the way he said that, because it is different going down the track, getting a license, as opposed to racing competition. Those are different things. Yeah, and
I'm reasonably certain that he's going to be out there at some point in time. I don't have any inside information. I don't know, couldn't tell you when, what race, what date, but I just don't think that he has gone through the time, the expense, the stuff to go up, even climbing the ladder, right? Starting in a super comp car, going to a top dragster, going to an alcohol style car, just because he wanted to try it. I think that, he's got more on his mind for the future, and looking forward to when he decides that it'll be time to pull the trigger.
Excellent. Mark Watkins out there, who does a lot in drag race. I finally had enough of public domain death metal music and kept it on NHRA.tv. Both of you added value to the event. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I don't quite get the death metal deal, but, I appreciate you. Jeff says Frank Hawley School was awesome. Did it over in Denver. Now let's talk about our winners out there in the Lucas Oil Series, because I think we had a bunch of great moments. And I can't help but think of Nick Cobb, who went into the sand after winning Super Comp. And he had not one, but two weird, bizarre moments over the course of the weekend. And, we made him pay a little bit on the stage. But his national event win, number one, is memorable for many reasons.
And what do you say, right? What Kyle Seidler used to always say, it's about the story. It's all about generate a good story. Well, he's definitely got a great story, because he should have been sent packing in whatever it was, the quarterfinals or the eights. Opponent had a mental mistake and let him back in. And then in the final round, he was so busy celebrating, he forgot to put the brakes on. So you'll remember that.
Yeah. Well, Pomona, everybody's got to remember, Pomona will surprise you. Not that I've raced down there, but I've talked to enough people that say it will get your attention. You've got to be ready at all times. And at 170 miles per hour in a super comp dragster, that's not slow, people. It's not slow.
But he's got a great story.
He does. Paul Nero, top dragster. Rich Okerman, top sportsman. Mike Wiblishauser in super gas. Nick, of course, in Super Comp. Kyle Rizzoli had a shot to double. Jimmy DeFrank, make sure that doesn't happen. In Super Stock, Kyle wins stock eliminator. I like Kyle Rizzoli, man. I think the kid is, obviously, he's an ace, but I like the way he carries himself as well. Like, I don't know. I think the guy keeps doing this. He can continue to get opportunities up the ladder if he wants them.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Obviously come from a racing family, going to races with his dad when his dad was racing the alcohol cars, and then became a crew chief in the alcohol ranks. Came through the Junior Dragster League and is a world champion in the Lucas Series in his own right. But Jimmy DeFrank in Pomona is just, it's unbelievable to me that Jimmy DeFrank has 20 national event wins, 4 championships, 10 national event wins in Pomona. And that counts both the winter and the finals. But that place is just magic for him for whatever reason. And when he gets on a roll, he's tough to stop.
Beach party super comp celebration. Yeah, it's easy, Jeff. A couple of days later, but yeah, that's a good one. Did you say that, Alan? Because that would have been a good one.
So, no,
that would have been a good one. You decided to throw a beach party. We'll remember that one, Jeff, for the next time it happens in 10 years. Right. And I want to mention Tibor Kadar, who has been a stock eliminator racer and driven some really cool cars, but competition eliminator win out there, got the job done, was on the tree all weekend long, like not just taking advantage of a fast car, which he had, but he did his job as a driver many times and picks up the win in comp.
All 4 semifinalists in comp were all from Phoenix, so we knew that trophy was headed back towards towards my home state anyway. It was cool seeing Kevin Carter, Dean and Kevin Carter, father and son, both made it to the semis, opposite sides of the ladder. Neither one of them made it to the final. The Mazzeras has got close to making a little more history like they did in Denver, and then neither one of them ended up closing the deal. But there were a lot of stories to follow late into the day late into the weekend, on Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, as they were racing their way into Sunday, and then when they finished it up on Sunday. So it just made it for an exciting race. When you got a lot of stuff going on, you got a lot of different angles, a lot of this could happen, that could happen. The stock eliminator final, if it goes the other way, could have been a heads-up final, because we had the two Camaros in the final, McClanahan and Rizzoli, and then the other two cars were both half automatics. So coming in there, there's the possibility this could happen, or this, or one of each. And it was just, like I said, there was a lot of interesting stories to follow throughout the course of the day, and that makes it fun to sit up there in the chair and tell those stories as they're unfolding.
And Steve Brenwald, who does our art, is reporting that ProMod News, J.R. Gray recently purchased Ricky Smith's brand new 2021 blown car, which I haven't seen that just yet, but maybe it's being reported right now, and it makes perfect sense, right? What does Ricky do? He just orders a car and then sells it to someone. This is like the second or third time this has happened, as he threatens the rest of the field with something new.
Well, remember what happened to J.R. Gray's car, so he definitely needed something if he was going to be coming back out and continue to chase. So that should be a good piece. You buy a brand new one, and Ricky doesn't order junk, so that should be a good piece.
Yes, and this did you get your helicopter ride after the airport from Ashley? Well, the guy was out there. Stu was the aerial photographer or aerial reporter, and I didn't know him, but he's known in Southern California because apparently they have a lot of helicopter police chases out there, and that's his deal. And so he gets to follow the guy. Oh, he's running, he's under the bridge, that kind of deal. And he loved drag racing. He had been out there before, but he had a especially good time this time. And we had a ton of celebrities out there. In spite of the heat, we had a ton of various celebrities and influencers and athletes, boxers, military, celebrity fit club. It was great.
Yeah, it was a fun event. I mean, again, it's a shame that the extreme weather kept so many of the fans away. It turned out, I didn't really need the helicopter ride. I had a Monday afternoon flight out. I had planned a side trip on Monday, so instead of taking my normal dark 30 out of there the morning after, I had scheduled later in the day, and then I ended up not doing that anyway. So, but probably all well and good. I had almost 100 emails in my announcer email that I was able to take the time yesterday, answer until they threw me out of the hotel. Then I went and finished them up in the Admirals Club later on.
There you go. Santino, great seeing you. New spectators I introduced can't wait to come back. Right, it's not about who wasn't there. It's about who was there. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. 3 races in a row. And that's why the third race, the hot race, the uncomfortable race, all kinds of drama happened, right? It's like you get out there, people get a little on their nerves. They find themselves, as is the case with Angel. We learned a lot on this 3-race swing.
Yep, and now we all get to catch our breath with no big show racing this weekend, and then we join the tour again out there at Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka. Looking forward to that already. Yes,
you did such a great job. You've done such a great job, Alan. I'm going to give you next week off. Next week, we're going to be... No, you got to react differently. Because I am going to Las Vegas with a couple of friends and family, and I will be there Saturday through Wednesday. And so, yes, that's right, WFO listeners. I am going to take a little time off. Don't worry, we'll make it up. And we'll give you a chance to get in the archive. But, Alan, you will have Tuesday off next week because you have done such a great job. But we'll figure out a way to make it up.
Cool.
And next time I'll see you will be in Topeka, Kansas. And we'll do it all again in Kansas, where it'll be nice and cool and comfortable.
I look forward to it, and I will see you there.
All right, Alan, great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, with us here on WFO Radio. Wow. All right, put your comments in the comment section, stuff that you guys have got to add. Anything you want to add, anything that will add to this program and this experience. And I will tell you about the sponsors, and then I'll give you a couple of thoughts that I have. All right, couple of thoughts. Because first of all, our Ignition show, I got in and fired up all the recording devices, and we did it. We had our Patreons on there, live feedback. If you haven't checked out the Patreon deal, it's pretty cool. We got a nice little secret society going on over there. And then we have listeners chiming in from literally around the world. Matt is in Australia, and It was unfortunate that we had to talk about some things that we talked about. It's coming back up. I'll tell you in a second. But first, I want to tell you what's really important. You see me sipping coffee here today. RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Go to the website, Marvin Rodak, Rodaks, coffeeandgrills.com. If you enjoy coffee, take the next step. Complete your journey and enjoy some Rodak's coffee. They've got hot sauces and spice rubs and everything great for grilling and barbecuing. And I did not approach Hagen about the deal, but I will. I'm going to let it cool down a little bit, though. But yes, Marvin, great guy. And you will enjoy his coffee. Drag racing themed coffee like the WFO Radio Blend and many others. Check them out. Also, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. samtech.edu. Do it today. And if you're the next generation, like if you're thinking, man, I want to get into this, this is a great way to get into this. And we got a new episode of Hidden Horsepower coming up. I'm going to be recording that later on today. But just the synergy between those two sponsors, like everybody on Hidden Horsepower, we ask them to give advice to the next generation. And the advice 9 out of 10 times is something related to learn the right way at the beginning, learn how to work, learn what it takes. And all of those things are what they're teaching you at Samtech. So it's pretty great. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Hey, don't listen to me. Listen to Troy, right? Troy went out there and did the Dragster Adventure at Woodburn and the Dragster Adventure Challenge at Woodburn. So the challenge, the Dragster Adventure is a bunch of us going down the racetrack. And then for I think a slight upcharge, you can be in a race against each other. And that is a different experience altogether. And he got down to the final round and he lost. Troy, come on, Troy. You should have just pulled out an 0:15 reaction time and you would have been good. But he got to experience what it's like to go to a final round in a race. Where else can you get that? And someone congratulated him, asked him if he had a video. Exactly. Camaraderie, fun. You can do it. And is it expensive or is it inexpensive? I don't know. With the price of things out there, I think it's very inexpensive for the experience that you're getting. No, I'm not saying steal from your kid's college fund or anything. I'm not. Don't do that. Of course, our friends at Nitro Fish went over by the Nitro Fish trailer. The WFO Radio 10th anniversary t-shirt is up there. And of course, our WFO store face coverings. Yeah, they're back. And this is what we talked about on the Ignition Show, and I don't mind bringing it up. I was in Southern California. I experienced the mask mandate indoors. Masks were on indoors, doing my press conference at the end of it with our winners. Masks were on, or I was wearing a mask. And I turn it inside out when I want to not gratuitously promote WFO, and then it's just a nice black mask. These things are back, people. I live in Broward County, Florida. You'll be hearing about Broward County real soon because we are like one of the epicenters of this deal. It's all a choice now. It's all a choice. Like people are choosing. The numbers like 92% of the people in our hospitals are unvaccinated, 97%, like all these numbers. I got vaccinated and I'll tell you why. It doesn't prevent you from getting it. It prevents it from killing you or you ending up in the hospital. Like the odds, it's about the math. Like what are the odds? And the odds go down. And to me, that was a worthwhile decision. You'll talk to your doctor. He'll tell you whatever he thinks and you'll trust him. But these masks, they're coming back. Face coverings coming back. Like it's not my fault. It's not the fault of, like I hate them. But this is our only weapon to slow it down. And whether you believe it or not believe it, like it's not even your call or on my call. There's nothing we can do. They're coming back in a lot of circumstances. So if you're going to have one, you might as well have the WFO one. Because at least then it's connected to something that you like a little bit and helps us get a new listener or two. So go to the store, $10. I throw in some stickers, even a patch. You can get it on the website, PayPal. I haven't sent out one in a while. Like you could really track the whole pandemic experience through me sending out WFO masks. It's been a little bit of a while. I have a feeling I'll be sending out some again soon. So there it is. Let's see what the comments are in the comment section. I will tell you that Alan, as an older person, older than me, has learned how to not let the people out there in the world bother him. And that's really good. I am not fully there yet. People used to bother me a lot more back in the day, but they bother me a lot less. But I do browse the Facebook and I see people making comments about the race, about, drag racing is dying because we had a short field at the Winternationals in the summertime in the middle of the pandemic in California. And like, that is not a fair assessment. It's not. And anybody, the thing about Facebook is you can't push back on anybody. You got to type and get out of here. But in a real verbal battle, I don't think a person who makes that comment could stand up to any kind of pressure, which is why they're hiding behind their keyboards. They're hiding behind their social media. They're putting out a comment that they know that they're going to get a little bit of a reaction to, and I'm giving it to them, yeah. But it's just not a fair assessment. For the conditions, there were a fair amount of people out there. What kind of a person wants to go out into 95-degree heat and watch racers race on a 145-degree track? And that, it's masochistic, man. It's masochistic. And we were all there. And a lot of those fans were there. And I saw a lot of my diehard fans there. Now Santino was there. He was just posting. And you know what? We all had a great time. So the people that weren't there are not who this is about. It's about those of us who were there. And I can guarantee you in 20 years, what race at Pomona are we going to be talking about, bragging about, that we were there, that we experienced it, that we toughed it out, that we had the guts to go? It's going to be this one. It's going to be this one. And so, the soft people didn't go. I don't want to call them soft because it's not fair, man. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of a flare-up of a pandemic. If someone elected to not go, that's their business. The problem is that we have so many people that still are in total denial about the legitimacy of the pandemic. I talked to some guys on the road. Oh yeah, it's all BS. Guys, really? You still think that? I'm not going to challenge them. That's their business. You can believe what you want to believe. But man, the math sure looks bad against what you believe. The numbers. And you don't hear a lot of people making that argument anymore. You just don't. Topeka is next. Next week I'm going to be in Vegas. Yeah, I felt like after the swing, this is the time. And I booked these tickets, honestly, to do the Vegas thing when I really felt like the numbers were just gliding down. And I did not anticipate this. And I'll share with you because it's my show and I can do it. And I don't always. On the Ignition show, I do. But I have some frustration and even a little bit of anger because this one is totally a choice that was made. We're back here because of a choice that was made or wasn't made. We don't have to be here. Like, masks could be gone forever. The reason we're dealing with it is because of people and the choices that they made. And now it's back. And so the people who didn't like it, it's funny because they're the same people that brought it back. I find that to be ironic. What an incredible irony. All right, let's get into your comments. I'll get off my soapbox. Sorry, guys. You want a soapbox? Get a show. But that's what Facebook is for. I get it. And the people who hate the talk, I'm sorry. Every once in a while, it just comes out. Todd, I don't know what you're talking about. Love the pit tour every time, Joe. I wish I could do a pit tour again, and I want to. And eventually, it's going to come back. Eventually, it will come back. Jay says, great show. Thank you, Joe and Alan. I appreciate Alan Reinhart. He's a logical guy. He has wisdom as well. I feel like I'm earning wisdom over the years. Felt like I had a pretty decent race. And a swing. Like my personal, I got a lot of positive comments. Trying my best at all times, except for one. Okay, back to this. Monica, great job. Thank you. We appreciate it. You don't need to puff us up like that. No video for Troy. Sorry, Jim Essex. Another good one, Joe. Everybody laid down some awesome runs, Todd. That's for sure. Bass Knuckler. You'll be happy to know we did an attention to the pits with Ashlyn Sacchetti, who has a beetle that, my beetle knowledge, guys, kind of weak. I did my best with it, but she kept unfolding like the layers. They opened the front, they opened the back, and like everything I'm seeing, what I do know is telling me this car is a work of art. I just wish I had more knowledge, and I gained the knowledge, but you'll see it eventually. Bass Knuckler. Got to meet some cool people on Sunday, had a cool conversation with surfer Jeff Deal. Turns out he's had a VW since high school. I talked with Jeff and Lisa as well. I was very happy to see Jeff and Lisa back out there. And after the race was over, I went and had a conversation because I haven't got to see Clay Milliken in 4 races. Like, I haven't seen Clay. Like, it's hard out there. Like, I had a chance to talk with Antron at the end of the race, first time in 4 races. I even saw Antron. It's been a great challenge. But Jeff and Lisa, they're back out there. They educated me a lot. And if you follow them on their social media, they will educate you a lot. They educated me a lot, folks, about like what's up. But I'll let them do that if you choose to go to their page. Night of Fire left some good rubber on the track. Yeah, the Night of Fire in Norwalk is coming up this weekend. And I was talking to Guido, and Guido's like, you should come. I was like, hey, going to Vegas. And he's like, oh, okay. But super excited for those guys. Get out there and support the Baiters and support all the teams that are going out there, please. Great show, Joe. Troy should have double bulbed him. It was incredible to watch Frank work his magic at the class. Well, we're talking about Frank Hawley's drag racing school. I've been telling you guys for a long time. You got a chance for one-on-one experience with one of the greatest drivers of all time. If you can't figure out how to extract $399 worth of information, that's on you. Come on. Come prepared with questions. You should be able to walk out of there knowing a whole lot. And driving the dragsters is a bonus. Monica, great show today. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. Ron Capps, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk with Capps, and I'm super excited about this because I don't know. Capp said this is one of his greatest single wins of his career. Started breaking out Roland Leong stories. So don't miss it. And I expect a big audience. And if there's not one, I think I'm going to retire. Oh, man, don't not watch the show because of that. And I've lost track of all the comments here. What do you recommend Rodak's to order when I'm drinking Starbucks French? And the answer is I don't know the answer, but you know who would? Marvin Rodak. And you can join our WFO radio group on Facebook because a lot of coffee discussion going on in there. You know, how caffeinated do you like to get? There's all different layers. Go check it out, Todd. Just ask that question in our WFO group. And the group and our page are totally different. The group's really cool. It's more like a community. And haven't had to kick one person out yet. Tells you something about this WFO audience, why I feel so comfortable about talking about certain stuff. Because, man, it's been crazy how we've been able to have a large group of people stay totally respectful and cool to each other. It's all good. Keep it real. Thanks, Jeff. It's either having their own conversation in the comment section. What am I doing? Saw a lot of great racers. Saw Slam and Sam out there. Kid who's got his own YouTube channel named, I think it's Darren. Excuse me if I'm wrong. Like, we've got another generation, another wave of kids coming into the sport that love this sport and want to take it to a new level. Man, like Thanos, if we could just erase all those jerky people, it would be great. Todd tried the Nitro Blend. I'm a French roast drinker, and I loved it. Interesting. You ain't kidding, Todd. Track was great. Jeff, do you have an incredible, what is that, a 64 Corvette? Oh my gosh, this guy Bonifield. He's posting photographs of his own personal car, and my eyes rolled back into my head. The thing is amazing. It was hot in Denver. Lyle Barnett won the small tire class last week at No Prep Kings. He raced nearly every weekend since the Pro Mod break. I've been following Lyle, and Lyle and I have a deal that we're going to get him back on the show as soon as is possible. It's not going to be before Topeka because I don't get back until Thursday. So we're just going to go fresh. We're going to miss a week of WFO, guys. Your job is to hit the archive. McNeil Freeman. What's up, McNeil? Don't you guys have Division II action this weekend? Galat, 1,000 foot. That'll be fun. Post some pics, McNeil. McNeil's in the group. Troy, tell everybody about WFO. You know, man, everybody tells me that they tell everybody about WFO, and I love and I appreciate our numbers, and our numbers are growing, but I think they could be growing so much faster. I know I shoot myself in the foot every time I say something about, like I mentioned, there's a pandemic. Like, oh, that's it, I lost one. But it's okay, because it's not about quantity. I learned that on Fake Famous. that documentary I've been telling you all about how all the influencers are BS. And I met a bunch of influencers this week, and Constance Nunez, she's got a TV show on Netflix. She's not an influencer. She's a TV show mechanic. And it's called, Car Warriors or something. And we talked about it, and we had a great conversation on the starting line. She was awesome. And then I know she has 892,000 Instagram followers. And I thought about the whole thing. And then I asked her to follow me. Please. Unvaccinated people do not have the right to give me COVID. Yeah, guys, like it is becoming a little bit of an urge. You know, you don't like when people annoy you. Tony Stewart in the Cobra Jet ran great in the heat. Yes, he did. But Leah revealed that he didn't like it because it took him away from his number one task, which was focusing on the top fuel team. But it was great to see Tony in the car. I got some great shots. I'll share them with you. Wonderful show as well. Yeah, WFL Radio, Facebook, but our group, I posted a lot of stuff. I know Ashlyn and Jack and race with them a lot. Jack's a legend in VW drag racing. Ashlyn is on her way. Yeah, she did good. She was great. Jalen Dunn, what's up, Jalen? Speaking of alcohol funny car racers, what's your opinion on trying to throw your opponent off on the starting line? Definitely, what is that? Definitely knowing you're at a disadvantage. I never did it well, first of all, that's a lie. I just lied. At No Prep Kings, when I was at a decided disadvantage against a ringer in an all-wheel drive vehicle, I did it. I honked my horn against the guy because I felt like I was at a unfair disadvantage based on the rules of the game. If you're at a no prep race, you should not have all-wheel drive cars in there because it's immediately going to eliminate the rear drive cars. And that's exactly what happened for the most part, especially against me. At professional level drag racing, I think all is fair as long as it's within the rules. And I support the John Forces and the Cruz Pedregon position on this one. And I think the younger guys that are just stage it up shallow only have their opinion because they're younger and at the early age of their ability and have yet to experience what it's like to love something and yet be in personal decline. I'll give you a perfect example about myself. You know, in the tower, sometimes at night, it gets dark and everyone likes to keep it dark. And, you know, you don't want to have a light on in the tower because then all the fans can see you in the tower and you just keep it dark. So it's dark. And looking at a computer screen is fine, but looking at a sheet of paper, guess what? This kid can't read the paper anymore. And it's like, oh my God, it's like a punch in the face. All you young guys out there, I know you hate hearing old guys and middle-aged guys in my case, telling you what it's like, but I'm telling you what it's like. It sucks. You can't see anymore. And I'm going over notes with someone who is not that much younger than me, by the way. It's going to happen. Younger than me. And they can read the paper and I can't read the paper. And I had to what do I do? Do I hide my weakness? Nobody likes talking about weakness. Nobody likes admitting weakness because then they kill you because of the weakness, right? Which is Matt Hagan alerting everybody to the fact he didn't like being double bulbed is a bad mistake because now more people are going to do it unless they have this weird honor code of just staging shallow every single time. But wait until you slow down a tick and you still love drag racing. Just wait until you slow down one tiny tick and lose a step. I love our sport because an old guy can use, what is it? Age and treachery will beat youth and exuberance every time. I love that about our sport. I love that you can be a cagey veteran and use your experience to do something that gets around win when you need it. That happens in a lot of things and certainly in life. And so just wait. Matt Hagan hangs around long enough, loves drag racing long enough to be around into his 50s and 60s. We might see his opinion change on this, and we might think maybe not. Maybe Hagan will get to the point. I'm just using Matt as an example. I love Matt Hagan, by the way. And he gave us this. He didn't have to give us this. He could have just walked away and lost. He gave us this. Thank you for giving us something interesting to talk about and speak about. And like a little controversy. Thank you, Matt Hagan, who was, by the way, done this for us many, many times. back in the day, tried to get things going, and no one would take the bait, and they don't want to get into it with Hagen. Hagen is good for the sport, but let's keep Hagen around for 20 more years. And when he goes from this young, athletic, amazing superhuman to a human, and he still loves drag racing, and he's got a young, athletic superhuman going at his throat, what's he going to do in that situation? I don't know. And he'll have two choices. Get a little cagey, get a little sneaky, or retire. I can't do this anymore at the level I once did, and so I'm not going to do it at all. That's a choice. I wonder what they'll choose. And I don't know. My gut tells me that they'll start breaking out the trickery. It's what my gut tells me. So, and thank you for the question there, Jalen. Jalen says, I agree. Right? I agree. Jay says, WFO is the best podcast. Jeff Shockley says, Division 5 is at Great Bend this weekend. Jeff says, it's a 67, maybe a little Bonneville talk. Speed Week is upon us. We did Bonneville last year on Hidden Horsepower. I don't know if you heard that one. It was great. I agree. I have no experience, and I don't want to fake the funk. I'm not into faking the funk, right? Like Brian Loans and those guys, Kepner, has such great experience, and I have none, and I feel dwarfed by their experience. And so I'm better to ask like questions, and I would need to be taken by the hand. That's just not my area of expertise, although I do appreciate it so much. Scott Malpass had LASIK surgery last year. Love it. Money well spent. Yeah, I had LASIK surgery also, Scott, in 1996. Talk about being a pioneer. Drag racing is a sport just like any. Sometimes you got to play games for the advantage. Yeah, exactly. Go talk to offensive linemen in the trenches about tricks and gamesmanship. Go talk to any other, real sport. When you get to the highest level, there's all kinds of stuff. Go talk to a wide receiver and a cornerback and see what the stuff that they say to each other, the things that happen out there. Terrible stuff that's way worse than double bulbing someone. My goodness. What are we? The people who are complaining about it are not versed in competition. I got John Force's back on this one every single time, and Cruz Pedregon every single time. Because when you're 25, you don't know. When you're 35, you don't know. When you're 40, you might know, but maybe you don't. When you're 46, 48, oh, you know. And it's going to happen to every one of you. If you're lucky. You're blessed. My vision started going away at 45. 48, it's happening right now, man. Reading glasses. Should I pack the readers? It's horrible. But you embrace it. You got to embrace it, man. You're lucky to be here. You got to embrace it. And that's how you get old with, what do they say? Gracefully. Oh, you could, lie and you could be that guy. I was out Sunday night, and it's time to look at the menu. Got to break out the light. Break out the stupid light. Whatever. Just deal with it. Jeff, 56-year-old pro stock rookie. It could happen. Yeah, I met this guy, Jeff Shockley, out there in Denver. He's a good guy, man. Jeff, you are a talent, brother. Your ability with the painting. Yeah, there's a car that I painted, and there's a metal sculpture that I made, and all that stuff. Get your health right, though. Guy's battling cancer, and he's doing a good job of it. Yeah. Racers for Christ, pray for me. I just got stage 4. We lost our listener, our great friend, Gary Corbett, just a couple of weeks ago to cancer. And you talk to more and more people, and everybody's fighting the fight. There's all kinds of fights going on. And if it's not them, it's a family member. And we're not supporting each other. We're all up in each other's grill right now. Not good. Use the readers or don't know what the heck is going on. Yes, I'll have the burger. Give me a burger. Exactly. Look at this. Exactly. Guys, we got your back as best as we can. WFO, I've been so, I use the word blessed, but fortunate, really, to have met so many of you, to have gotten positive information and feedback and hear your stories and this thing that we're doing, all of it. It's part of our lives, but it's not the whole life. What's great about drag racing is it brings great people together who have interesting stories, and they're all go-getters, man. Go-getters. And they love the sport because it challenges them and it challenges all of us. But there are just a couple of real negative Nancys out there. It's a real bit of a bummer. But we are fortunate to be able to have this sport and have it bring, like Angel getting angry. You stay angry, Angel. At the right time, of course. And not ever at me. Never at me. That's the goal. Although I have someone that's angry at me right now. Yeah. I'm real proud of myself for not bringing it up on the show. That might be an ignition. How can the crew chief see down the track to shut the car off? I don't know. Maybe he needs readers. They can see. The crew chief's eyes and brains work much quicker than yours do. The processing of information, where they look, what they see, what's going on with the competition, and they make the call to push the button. What's amazing to me is that that button works that rapidly, that the car's accelerating at 300 miles an hour away from them, and it can catch them and shut it off like, at, what is that, the speed of light? Like, how fast is that? Frequencies? I don't know that information, but it's amazing. But yes, and the crew chief mind, like, think about the pro golfer. I always reference the Tiger Woods commercial where he knocks the ball on the putter, and he does it like 20 times and then clicks it in the air and hits it like a baseball, and it's a great shot. You can find that on YouTube. They did that in one take. And that's what a professional anything is compared to us. Now apply that logic to a crew chief. They are seeing hundreds of things that you're not even seeing and that I'm not even seeing. The wheelie bar, the squat, the tires, the cylinders, each cylinder individually. Yeah, it looks like we dropped number 5. Looks like we dropped number 10. We dropped about 300 feet out. They are seeing so much that we're not even able to see because we see this blur of car going down the racetrack. And that's why they're amazing people. That's what a professional is in any sport. That's why there should be respect for anybody that is able to achieve that highest level. Been amazing stuff. All right, guys, appreciate you. See you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Ron Capps. See you then. WFO.